Hi Big Tractor Power fans, this video comes to you from a field located in western Kentucky where a 90-foot wide, 36-row, 30-inch spaced, 130 bushel seed capacity John Deere DB90 corn planter is working with a 540 engine horsepower John Deere 9RX 540 track tractor. In this presentation, I would like to share with you the planter's production history, specifications, and list price tag, as well as taking you for a ride in the cab of the tractor to visit with the farmer about operating a 90-foot wide machine like the DB90. But first, let's head out to the field so that you can see and hear this big planting team at work. The John Deere DB90 corn planter is manufactured in Patton, Iowa at Bauer Built. John Deere and Bauer Built have had a manufacturing relationship since 2003 when the original DB90 was released. At that time, the planter featured 36 rows of individual hopper boxes. Today, the planter has a central fill system. Bauer Built has manufactured a variety of heavy-duty wide toolbars for John Deere over the years, ranging from 44 to 120 feet. The largest corn planter ever produced by the company was the 120-foot DB120 equipped with 48 rows spaced at 30 inches. This planter was produced from 2009 through 2022. It was retired from production when John Deere updated the central fill commodity system from 100 bushels to 130 in 2022. For model year 2024, the largest corn planter available from John Deere is the 90-foot wide DB90, which can be ordered as a 36-row, 30-inch spaced unit or as a 54-row, 20-inch spaced model. This 36-row corn planter can be ordered with two different types of row units. The DB90 comes standard from the factory with the MaxEmerge 5E electric drive row unit and can be ordered with the optional ExactEmerge brush delivery system, which allows the planter to plant up to 10 miles per hour for an additional cost of $118,578. The DB90 is built with 5 individual sections that offer 15 degrees of flex to meet varying terrains in the field to keep the row units engaged with the ground. The planter is fitted with 2 individual central fill boxes that hold up to 130 bushels of corn seed. When the planter folds up from its 90-foot wide planting width, it is transported at 16 feet wide. This machine weighs in empty of seed at 37,150 pounds. The company recommends using tractors from 325 horsepower and up to operate it. According to JohnDeere.com, for model year 2024, a base DB90 has a list price of $528,916. It comes standard from the factory with marker arms. When those are deleted from the order, like the one that you see operating here, a customer will save $8,016.
I'm up in the cab of the 9RX 540. It's running across the field here just at 5.1 miles per hour. Great visibility, and we can see the DB90 90-foot 36-row planter back here just cruising along, putting the crop in the ground. And I'm here with the farmer Neil, who we've had a chance to visit with a few different times. Last time I was out with you, you were culture chisel plowing in the fall. Today we're in no-till conditions, so you have a lot of different variety on your farm. How do you decide what you want to no-till and what you're going to chisel plow and field cultivate?
Well, we're usually pretty early in this area getting started planting, so we'll start out in some chisel plowed ground that we run a field cultivator over just to help warm up the ground and try to keep maybe our better farms that are flatter, the ones that we work. And sorry about that, but going off. But typically we'll save our no-till for later, and maybe a farm that is a little rocky or a farm that's a little more marginal type ground for no-till, where the ground will hold together better. So we have a variety of both. The no-till this year has really had a hard time drying out, so it's really been nice to have all the field cultivated land and ground to start on. But you know, we always try to have a little no-till to wind up with. So,
do you have to make any changes? I know you had a field that you were field cultivating last week, and then right across the road you were no-till. Can you just jump the road and keep on planting? Is it set up to work in both conditions? Or?
Usually we'll increase it. We've got hydraulic downforce on this planter, and I'll increase my downforce on the planter when I go to no-till. And I'll usually put a little more pressure on my closing wheel system to close the slot, you know, where it's a little bit harder. It doesn't want to close hardly as well. So that's the main thing. Occasionally I might put it in the ground, you know, a notch on the depth, but typically those changes are pretty easy to make. I can change my hydraulic pressure from in the cab, And the other two things I have to get out, but I mean, it may take 10 minutes to do. It's not bad at all.
On the technology side, I noticed that you have a GPS globe on the planter back there, then obviously one's integrated into the tractor from the factory. What does that allow you to do?
The main reason we did it, a lot of people think it's for implement guidance, but we're not using that. We're using what they call Autopath. So as I plant, I'm making a pathway for the sprayer and for the combine. So therefore you never have guesswork anymore. In other words, when we come back to harvest this corn in September, it will show you each combine pass, and you pull right in, and it always lines up perfect. Whereas in years past, maybe your auto guidance would bring you in and you might be a row off, and then you'd have a row to clean up the whole length of the field. So this way it allows everything to line up right, and it's really nice. We really enjoyed it. We ran it on one planter last year and put it on both planters this year. So I think that's something that saves you a lot of time when it comes to harvest. And I think once, doing like fungicide on corn and stuff, it'll be really nice in the future too, being able to spray down that Autopath line and not have to worry about running over crop.
It's nice. And we can see here you're working on the end rows, and you've got a curve which the tractor just kind of steers around on its own when it's not a sharp one. Does that also help to have that technology there?
Yeah, some planters it seems to work a little better on the receiver if you run an auto guidance. For instance, on our 24-row planter, I think it works a lot better. It does great out in the field, but going around some big curve, sometimes it doesn't line up exactly right. And I'm sure the technology will get there in time. But we RTK our boundaries, and now right here on my first pass I had to swing out a little bit because we had a few tree limbs out, so I'm overlapping a little on my second pass, but as you can see my rows are shutting off. But where we RTK our boundaries, it allows us to auto steer around our boundary. Since I don't have markers on this planter, that would, it'd be a lot of guesswork if I didn't have something like this. So it's really, really nice.
So when I look up here on this front screen and your side screen, we can see there's a lot of color variation from red to greens to orange and yellow. What does that indicate for you?
Well, we're doing a lot of variable rate technology. So this farm, we've been farming for probably, let's say 20 years. And over time, we've developed what part of the field can produce better. So on the parts of the field maybe that are a little marginal or don't produce hardly as good, we cut back our population. So the oranges and the yellows are a little less population. Like right now I'm in a green point and I'm putting around 33,000 seeds per acre. But then I get in another point where it's a little tougher ground and I may be putting 27,000 seeds to the acre. So it just allows us to save a little money on seed, and typically it'll help keep our yield up in those tougher spots too by not having as much corn out there.
Well, that's good. And I've been impressed today. Sometimes I can catch you out in a 1,000-acre block, and today you're planting a 50-acre field that had a lot of kind of probably what are larger sinkholes and bowls that you were planting through it. I guess you imagine you like the flexibility of the planter for getting through that.
Yeah, that's one of the issues in Kentucky we have. We've got some really good ground that lays really good, and we've got some really tough marginal ground too. So these planters really flex good. So a lot of people say, how in Kentucky do you plant with a 90-foot wide planter? But the way these things flex, it's unbelievable. I don't know the degrees exactly, but you go over a berm or any kind of steep hillside, and it will flex about as well as any planter out there as far as I'm concerned. And just one of the issues we have when you're in this area, but it really seems to do well in those situations.
I imagine with a 90-foot toolbar, while you could pull it with an 8RX or an 8R, it doesn't hurt to have 540 horsepower up front here from this tractor.
Well, we've got a lot of hills around here, and a planter like this could push a 8RX or something around a little bit on a loose hill. But we also use these tractors pulling 1,500 bushel grain carts, and so they're a pretty good load. And this is not the only job this tractor will do. So we try to get sizes that we can do multiple jobs with, instead of just having maybe a tractor that this would be its only job. That way we can use them year round.
And you're happy with the new John Deere engine that they've been putting in these, or?
Yeah, I really like this new engine. It even comparing it to a size up on like the Cummins motor, I feel like the Deere motor has more torque, and it just seems like it pulls harder, and it's really seems like more fuel efficient to me. Also uses less DEF than the other tractors used to, so I really like this engine.
Neil, your farm has been running tracks on the tractor and planter for several years. You've just upgraded this year from a 9520RX narrow track to a 9RX 540 full track, and then you've got the tracks on the DB90. Also, big upgrade. You went to a DB90 in 2012, and it's lasted a good number of years, and just upgrading to a new one this year. So that must speak well for the planter.
Yeah, we've really liked the tracks. Like you say, we were on the 24-inch tracks in the past, and we decided to go to the 30-inch tracks this year. I like the ride on the 30s. You have one less bogey wheel on your track system, and it seems like it rides a little smoother. And we were a little concerned because our rows, on 30-inch rows, were running right in the edge of that track from the tractor, but we're not seeing any pinch row effect or anything on the corn that's already come up. So we like it. The planter is still on a 24-inch belt. But we were in the conventional ground. It would kind of compact the ground a little more with a 24-inch belt. The 30, I think, floats a little bit better on top of the loose soil. So I really like that aspect of it. And I really think the tracks are good, especially on a heavy planter like this.
You're running a 5E system on this DB90. How do you like that setup?
I like it fairly well. My previous planter, I had the precision components on it that had the speed tubes, so I was able to run faster in good conditions. The problem is here in Kentucky, we have rock and rougher ground a lot of times, so you couldn't utilize those speed tubes by running, the maximum speed, say 8 to 10 miles an hour. So on this planter, we just decided to go with the electric meters, but not go to the speed tubes. But I really like it. They do a good job. I still get the turn compensation where it puts more out on the faster side of the planter and less on the inside, and still get an individual row shut off. So it does everything my other planter was doing, other than maybe not hardly able to run as fast. But I really have liked it so far.
So your family farm has been running a DB90 for about 14 years. What made you change to go up to 90 feet from a 24 row?
Well, we just, we had increased our acreage a little bit, and just wanted to be able to get more done in a day's time. And we had big enough fields, we thought that we could utilize it pretty good. So, that's mainly the reason. And there's two of us that plant. We've got, pretty good help, but we're all scattered pretty thin this time of year, from spraying to spreading fertilizer to field cultivators running and planting. So it just helps, instead of maybe having 2 24 rows and a 12 or 3 24 rows, it just eliminates an extra person basically by having this size planter.
Certainly. It's you're always trying to get it all done in about 10 days, 2 weeks,
right,
if you can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how many acres an hour are you able to cover with this planter?
I was doing in good running where I can run 5.5, about 60 acres an hour. Right now in this no-till, I'm going a little slower, so I'm probably around 50 acres an hour. Of course, that's planting time, not including field time or backing up. So in a day's time, I can do anywhere from, if I've got a lot of chopped up fields and a lot of moving, 250 to 300 acres, to if I'm in some really good running. One day this year I did almost 700 acres, but that was starting early and running, late at night. So you can get a lot done with it for sure. But I would say I average probably 400 acres a day.
Oh, that's getting it covered.
Covering a lot of ground in a short time.
And this year you just upgraded. You had the original elliptical tanks back in 2012. This new 24 model has got the new kind of squared off tanks. Do you have any advantage going up 30 bushels in seed capacity?
Yeah, anytime you can hold more seed, that allows you to stay in the field a little longer. And since I'm not putting any type of liquid or anything down, it just allows me to have more time between fill ups. So yeah, it gains you a little bit of time as far as acres go per day.
Very good. And here we can see we're coming up to the headland. We're on a 90-foot pass, and Neil will turn the tractor around and we can watch how the guidance system works.
My section control turned off. I need to turn it back on.
So we can see the tractor and planter turn very nicely. And then with a click of a button, the auto steers on, and we're on that next 90-foot pass, catching the last section of the field here. Well, Neil, thank you very much for the ride along. It's always impressive seeing this big equipment, and a great opportunity to see it in action.
Yeah, glad to have you. Come back anytime.
I hope that you've enjoyed spending some time out in the field with this 90-foot wide, 36-row John Deere corn planter and 540 engine horsepower tractor. I would like to hear in the comment section below the video, if you plant corn on your farm, tell me about the tractor and corn planter that you're running this spring. If you have appreciated this presentation, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to Big Tractor Power YouTube, where there's over 2,000 videos of farm machines in action. If you would like to view additional content featuring tractors planting corn, continue to watch to the end screen for a direct link to 2 more Big Tractor Power YouTube videos. As always, thank you for watching.